Well, if you were listening to Father's liturgical tidbits there, they were good, and they were a wonderful lead-in to kind of what I'm going to tee off on here this morning, I hope a little bit, so I don't have to go through. You heard about him talking about the first reading. There was a crisis going on, and so they had to have an authority, and they went to the church and so on. And so there had to be kind of a roadmap as to how do we figure this stuff out. You and I, by the way, are kind of beneficiaries of that roadmap through the centuries. That roadmap has been the church and the bishops, as Father said. So that a lot of these issues are solved for us. We don't constantly have to be thinking about it. Like a lot of other Christians, they got a concept, this is not an authority. Who decides? So that's part of what was said. But in the gospel, Jesus, in John's gospel here, there's a crisis going on as well. Jesus is telling his disciples in a roundabout way, look guys, I'm leaving you. I have to go back to the Father. But I'm going to leave you 3 little tidbits of advice here. And they're hidden, I think, in this gospel. At least they were hidden for me. I had to read and read. And I know, well, what's Jesus saying here? And I think he says a lot of things, of course, because it's Jesus. But at least 3 things come to my mind in the roadmap idea that he says. He says, look, I want you to follow my word. That's what he says. If you love me, you will keep my word. And secondly, he says, I want you to follow my Spirit. In fact, I'm going to send the Spirit to you, you, the advocate, one who will defend you, one who's on your side, one who will be with you through thick and thin. And then finally he says, I don't know, most importantly, perhaps for some of us, as we look around, he says, I'm going to give you my peace. P-E-A-C-E, peace. And so we'll talk just a tad about that. So first he says, anyone who loves me will be true to my word. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of words out there, friends. You young people, I hope you hear my voice. There's a lot of words out there. And when you have your device, the words are multiplied. And they're coming at us so fast that I'm not quite sure anymore I know what the word of the Lord is. And then add to that, we've even got kind of disputes going on within the Christian body, don't we? Some say this, and some say that, and some say, well, we don't believe this. And Jesus says, you have to listen to my word. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. So we have to somehow tune ourselves in to the word of Christ, which has been passed down to us through, of course, the Bible and sacred tradition, through the Catholic Church and its doctrine. And I hope all of us, me included primarily, recognize today how important that word is to us. As a person, I have often said, I'm an older guy, and I've said to my wife or friends that know me, without this great Catholic Church, we're lost. We're lost in a sea of words. We're lost in kind of a world that tells us this and tells us that, and you hear it, and you young people hear this. And Jesus says to you, listen to my word. What we're doing here this morning is gathering as a body to hear his word, to be encouraged by him, to know that his Spirit is with us, and to give us this peace and tranquility. Jesus said to us, I am the truth. We have to kind of ferret out the truth of the matter. But Christ makes it easier for us. Everybody is proclaiming the truth amongst an avalanche of fake everything. It's fake. Most of it seems fake to me. That's an exaggeration, but you know me, so I can get away with that. There's a lot of fake everything. And you young people are going to have to kind of wade through the fakeness to find the truth. We all do. And I urge you to listen to this gospel and cling to the Lord and cling to his church and cling to his doctrine, and do not be swayed by all the voices that just seemingly are unending, urging you to do this or that or the other thing. I am the truth. I am the truth, Christ said. And we come here loaded for that he is going to reveal to us again and again the truth of his word and who he is. And then he says, look, though, I'm not going to leave you alone here. I'm going to send you the advocate who comes in my name, will instruct you in everything. That's what he says this morning. My Holy Spirit I will send to you soon at Pentecost and all the centuries later. Can I be so bold as to say, just talk about myself? You know, the Holy Spirit is not something that, as Catholics, at least when I grew up, we talked about a lot. I mean, I don't know what I was. I was a believer. And I knew I loved the church. I did. But I don't know, the Holy Spirit, well, that's nice. But it is nice. It's way beyond nice. When crisis comes in your life, here's where I think my weakness was. Either I was too ignorant, too prideful, too something or other, too stubborn, I don't know. Call on the Holy Spirit. Call on the Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts, fill my heart. For Jesus promised it, I will send him to you, and he will instruct you in the truth and in my word. That's important because of what I have just said to you, especially young people. Call on the Holy Spirit when you may be in the midst of some sort of personal crisis, big or small. Come, Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit, help me out. And he does. The Holy Spirit is the one who really strengthens us. I used kind of a corny example last night, and Father kind of made fun of me, but I was going to make fun of him this morning, but I'm too nice a person. I can't do that. Right? What are you laughing about? I used the example, I was thinking of the great saints that have gone before us, especially the ones that were martyrs for the faith, right? You've all read about those people. People that went, for example, to the guillotine. People that were torn apart by the lions, that kind of thing. Boiled in oil and all that stuff. I ask you, seriously, young people, how did they do that? What if we all line up here and there's a guillotine out there and we're all in line waiting our turn, and you have to either say, no, I profess Jesus Christ, or deny him, or you're going to the guillotine. Who's going to the guillotine with me? Father? Yeah, all right. Last night he didn't raise his hand. I thought, whoa, man, no, he did. They called on the Holy Spirit. That may be a kind of an extreme example, but not really. Just notch that down a little bit. When temptation comes to me, and it does come, call on the Holy Spirit. Call on help. Call on God's wisdom. Ask God to send his Spirit to you, young people, and he does. That's all I'm trying to say. It's taken me a long time to recognize that. To call on God's help, for he loves us. I love you, he says. I want you to be with me. Here's what I'm doing for you. I've given you this church and my word, and I've given you my Spirit. And then finally he says to us, what? On the other side, he says, my peace is my gift to you, not the peace that the world offers. So much unrest, so much anxiety, so much destructive behavior, right? Anybody here disagree with that? It's all around us. An absence of peace. It appears on Highway 41 that 93.5% of the people are not at peace. And I'm one of them. is that? Why would people from other nations come here and say, you people have everything, and yet you're so anxious and upset about everything? They do say that to us, right? I don't think I'm lying. They do. They say, man, you people are really, you better gear down there, especially you, deacon. You got issues, pal. Here's what I read about peace. True peace from Jesus is the promise that what could be called the tranquility of order, the tranquility of inner order. Everybody knows what tranquility is, right? Everybody know that? Sure. You're kind of calmed down. The opposite of me. But it's interesting. I say that. I happen to be here. Some of you that know me, often people have said to me, and I see a guy that often has said this to me, hey, what are you so angry about? And why don't you gear down a little bit? I may at times be that angry guy because I'm not, obviously I am. But I tell you this, I hope I'm not lying here. Often when I do that, in here, we all have it in here. We're not just this, we're in here. Spirit. I have a tranquility often at times. I feel I'm with the Lord. Even though now I may look like I'm upset, I'm really not. I just want to say to everybody, and you with me as a group, this is important what we're doing here. This is worthy of getting excited about, is it not? Isn't it? Yeah? Right? It's worthy of it. There's not much more, you young people, that you're going to do in your life that'll be more profound than this, what we're doing right here this morning. And Christ says to you, students, the disorder that you see around you can be calmed by Christ. My peace I give to you. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that peace, especially when you see what's going on? And I think Christ then is saying to us, dear friends, we have to kind of go out and spread that. The Word, His Spirit, and peace. True peace. The peace that comes with the truth. That peace. And if you do that, if you stay with Christ, if you ask Him to give His Spirit, you have a peace about you. I'm still working on it, but you do. All of us do. That's what Jesus is saying us this morning. And that's why we've gathered. And above all of that, He's going to feed us with His body and blood to really give us the strength to do this. Please, God.